The reason why you're easily offended and react to everything is because you keep taking things personally. Back when I used to get triggered all the time, I used to make everyone's actions and words mean something about me when in reality, maybe it didn't. And because of this, I was constantly anxious and overwhelmed, was stuck in a cycle of toxic relationship, and never felt confident or in control of my life. So this is you right now, I hear you, and in this video, I'm gonna be teaching you how to stop being a slave to your emotions and stop taking things so personally. Because the truth is, the more reactive you are, the easier it is for people to manipulate you. And this is because manipulators look for people who are overly emotional so they can use your emotions to control you. Whether it's to gaslight you, to guilt trip you, or to blame you for the things that you didn't do. And this isn't to say that you should shut down your emotions completely and never feel them or express them. Rather, learn how to self-regulate so that you can respond rather than react. So make sure you watch to the end to make sure you learn how to stop being easily manipulated so you can feel in control of your life. Now, the first thing that you want to do to stop being so reactive is we want to acknowledge and feel our emotions. Now, the number one mistake that a lot of people do is that they immediately try to push away or not feel their emotions because they think if I have no emotions, then I don't have to react to anything. But the truth is, emotions don't just disappear like that. In fact, they get stuck and stored in your body. That's why sometimes when you're feeling emotional, your throat starts closing up, you feel heavy in your chest, and if you continuously repress your emotions, sometimes that even develops to chronic pain. Not only that, but when you constantly try to repress your emotions, they either lead to number one, you feeling numb and even forgetting how to feel sometimes, or number two, you constantly pile on the emotions until one day something randomly triggers you and then everything comes spilling out and you have an outburst. And for those of y'all who've been through that cycle before, know how frustrating this can feel because afterwards you most likely feel guilty for reacting to something so small. But truthfully, you know it's a whole bunch of things that you haven't dealt with yet because you kept pushing them away. So make sure you're properly taking time to feel your emotions so that you can let them go. Now, the second thing I want to do is understand what's going on underneath that trigger. So the higher the emotional reaction is, the higher the wound and the pain point you have. And underneath every trigger is a wound or a belief that we've been internalizing, whether it's I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm stupid, I'm incompetent, I'm not important. All of these subconscious narratives and beliefs that we've internalized come out when we're triggered, and if we don't heal these wounds and get to the core root of the issue, we're gonna constantly find ourselves facing the same problems over and over again. Of course, self-soothing and feeling better in the moment is important. However, if you want to stop being so reactive and taking things personally all the time, we want to make sure that there's nothing to take personal. Because the reason why you get so offended is because you secretly believe that what the other person is saying is true. But that leads us to the third thing that we want to do is rewrite the narratives that we've internalized. And we want to make sure that we shift these negative beliefs that we have ourselves so we're not constantly rewiring those wounds over and over again. And if you want to learn how to heal your wounds a lot more in depth, click the link in the description box below, where you can book a call with me one-on-one and we can map out your next steps. Now, after doing steps 1 to 3, you're ready for this mindset shift, which is the fourth thing in our list, and that is understanding that the world does not revolve around you. I know that sounds harsh, but really understanding what this means is gonna help you stop taking things personally all the time. Because the truth is, a lot of people's negativity and what they do is a projection of their own insecurities. The same way why we get so reactive easily is because we have wounds and fears hidden underneath our subconscious. And the same reason why people might do the things that they do is because they have wounds and fears that they haven't taken the time to heal yet. For example, if you're at a party and you're meeting new people and you start looking around you to see who wants to talk to you, and you notice the girl sitting next to you is a little bit quiet and maybe not making too much conversation, you might take this personally and think, oh my goodness, she hates me, I'm not good enough for her, she thinks that she's all of that's why she doesn't want to talk to me, she doesn't make eye contact with me. And that's your narrative in that story because it's coming from a place of your wounds and your fears. However, if you stop thinking that the world revolves around you and take a second to step out of your own shoes, you might see a different perspective. Instead of thinking that she has something against you, maybe it isn't about you and it's about her. Maybe she's really anxious and socially awkward and she's not used to being around groups. It's not that she's not talking to you because she thinks you're boring. Maybe she's not talking to you because she's shy and she's really nervous, and so she's just keeping to herself. And that her reaction is coming from a place of her wounds and fears. But what we noticed here is both of y'all experienced the same thing, however, you interpreted it differently. And so the next time you get offended and you become reactive and you're taking things personally, think about how the other person might be seeing the the situation. And this leads us to number 5, which is understanding that everyone has different perceptions. If you ever find yourself thinking, well, why don't they just get it? This is common sense. How come they don't understand what's going on? And that's why you're getting riled up and reactive. Understand that everyone's common sense is not common practice. Understand that everyone grew up differently and experienced different things, so y'all's common sense might not be the same. Of course, you don't want to gaslight yourself and excuse less than the bare minimum. However, it is extremely beneficial for you not to assume that it has something to do with you. Rather, maybe y'all just think differently. Then we want to go ahead and set our boundaries and learn how to communicate that. Now, number 6 is giving someone the benefit of the doubt. Of course, you don't want to use this and gaslight yourself and say, oh, well, they made a mistake, they made a mistake 3 times in a row and it disrespected me, but I'm gonna forgive them. No, you want to make sure that you're also setting your boundaries and protecting yourself. However, if this is something that someone's done maybe once or twice and they've talked to you about it and they have some wounds around this, see if there's any opportunity for some grace and compassion. Because the truth is, we're all human, we all make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes, you've made plenty of mistakes in your life, but we learn from them. And instead of immediately thinking, well, they're just a bad person, they did this on purpose, note that maybe they're just going through a tough time in life. For example, if you have road rage and someone cuts you off and you're immediately offended and you think, oh my goodness, they cut me off, they're a horrible driver. Maybe they didn't cut you off to make you upset, but maybe they had to rush to the hospital because their loved one is in critical condition. Now, I hope that's not the case. However, once you give a story to people's lives and you put it into perspective, it really allows yourself to empathize and give self-compassion rather than immediately getting offended and being defensive about it. Because the truth is, everyone struggles with something and you never know what someone's going through. And let me let you in on a little secret. The reason why I don't get offended by hate comments or when someone's rude to me is because I utilize the same mindset. I think, wow, this person probably has a lot of wounds and fears and they're insecure enough to comment that. I think, wow, maybe they didn't get hugged or loved as a child and that's why they're reacting and lashing out this way. Of course, it's not my responsibility to heal them or fix their emotion, and it doesn't disregard the fact that they're being rude. So I'm not going to engage with them and give them a chance and let them stay in my life. However, if you have an online platform or if you experience some rudeness in your day-to-day life, this really helps to not get offended and reactive really easily. In fact, I'm unbothered and it doesn't really matter to me, which is why I'm able to keep so much peace and calm in my life. Now, of course, if you're not used to controlling your emotions and you get overwhelmed easily, doing all these steps might be a bit difficult for you at first. So if in real time, whenever you find yourself or notice yourself being reactive, use that second where you recognize that you're being reactive to take a step back. I know our ego wants to get in the way at this point and it's thinking, no, I'm just gonna go all out. They have to know how I feel. I'm just gonna react. But that's only fueling that cycle, remember? So with all your strength, take a second to breathe. And if you can muster that strength where you can take a step back, use that time to self-soothe. And of course, it's not practical to map out your wounds, understand what's going on underneath if you're in a situation in real time. So don't feel afraid to let the other person know, hey, it seems like we're both getting angry and upset here and the situation's co-escalating. So I'm just gonna take a second to calm down, relax, take a step back because I need to process my emotions right now. Of course, if it's your spouse or your partner, someone that's important to you, you can even let them know it's not anything against you. I just need some time to process my emotions because I'm feeling overwhelmed, and then I'll come back to talk to you. And make sure you say those things and don't just shut down and leave them hanging. Otherwise, they're gonna think that you just shut down and you don't really care. But with that said, I hope that these steps help, and continue to take time to self-soothe so you're not taking everything personally and becoming reactive all the time. Comment down below what triggers you the most and which of these steps resonated. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in next week's video. As always, you got this.